AI will do the job 70 to 80%.
We're not in a place where we can just rely on the AI and it can be 100%, and actually that would be wrong.
It will not replace the human intervention.
Remember, the difference between AI and me, I think I've got cognitive ability. AI doesn't, it's machine learned. It does what it's told to do with its prompts.
Sarah Malik, you are the founder of Soul International. You are a legal expert with strong expertise in international dispute resolution and arbitration. You are an active speaker and influencer in the legal space. You received the Litigator of the Year in GCC Women in Law Awards 2022. It's a pleasure to have you in Lexzur Podcast and having this conversation.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure for me to be here. Everybody's been nothing but hospitable, and it's really nice to meet the team. Thank you for having me, Lexzur, and thank you, Paris.
Pleasure. I think we both agree that we can tackle hundreds of topics when it comes to legal tech and innovation in the legal space.
We could be here for the next 4 weeks. Yes.
I would like us to focus on one particular hot topic that we both agree is disrupting every single function in the legal space, AI. What do you think?
Of course, let's go.
Fantastic. So I will start with your expertise in the contract lifecycle and the contract analysis. Where do you think AI will play a major role and how?
I think it already is playing a major role for those who are actually using the correct tools and using the AI. So even tools you have, the Contra, which is AI powered by Lexzur, that's an example. If we are able to use the correct tools at our fingertips, it just makes our life so much easier. Instead of spending days and weeks on basic tasks of trying to put this contract together, looking at precedents, let the AI do it. Let the AI feed from what it has very, very quickly, much quicker than me, a paralegal, an associate, a whole team of 10 of us can do together, and put together something that's going to make our lives much easier. It's objective, it's productive, it's cost saving, it's time saving, and it gives you different variables in a contract. So when we're drafting ourselves or trying to look through lots and lots of precedents or lots and lots of documentation, we simply cannot do what the AI can do, which is decipher so much information so quickly and so to point to give me something that I can work with, which is 70 or 80% done. It makes my life so much easier. And so it's already happening for those who have bought into the space. Tackling the elephant in the room, there's many people who don't know about its ability. They don't know what it can do. They don't know how it can help them. And that's where I think it's important for people to be educated about the benefits of letting AI work with you, work for you, and understanding that it's a real game changer in our profession.
Interesting. And do you think, like when you take a large volume of documents, do you think AI is capable to analyze this large volume? For example, consolidating data, detecting risks, highlighting some compliance rules or other?
Absolutely. And the more sophisticated it becomes, the more it's able to do that. Remember, the difference between AI and me, I think I've got cognitive ability. AI doesn't, it's machine learned. It does what it's told to do with its prompts. But the more it does it and the more it becomes refined, it starts to have predictive analysis. So the more I'm working with it and putting prompts in, it starts to understand how I'm thinking and it gives me what I want.
Yes.
So I work with it. It's the same as if I give an example of, I don't know, you browse the internet and it picks up your behavioral patterns and what you do, and suddenly you start getting ads and things that are relevant to what you look at. It's the same. If I'm in a particular discipline and I keep asking AI to get me a contract or get me something that's to do with arbitration or to do with sports, it's going to start understanding what I want and it's going to get better and better and better. And ultimately, it can go through lots and lots of information and help, whether it's identifying compliance rules, whether it's identifying, negotiation strategy or tactics. It's how you work with it and your ability to work with it and make it work for you. So it's never going to be able to think. Maybe it will one day, I don't know. But certainly it can be coming soon. It can be controlled to think in the way you want it to think by the constant prompts and the constant use of it. It just becomes more and more clever.
Yes,
So
this
it's
is
the
what we call
consistency.
training and educating the and this is very interesting, because if you mentioned the search, and when you analyzing with AI is totally different than searching on a database, because
Absolutely.
searching is creating like the keywords pattern,
Yeah.
Detecting the patterns and the
And they
keywords.
might
Where
not be
AI
relevant. The search,
AI is thinking differently.
you can search and you can waste time searching because it'll pick out the keyword, but it's nothing to do with the context of what you're searching for, but it picks out that word. Whereas with the AI, the prompt that you can put in, it's a very refined search.
Yes.
It's a much more contained search, much more relevant, rather than this generic search of, just give me this word when it appears in a document. I'm not that interested. I'm interested in putting together something that's much more refined, and that's what helps me. So it's about working smarter. And I think if you want to work smarter and have more productivity, then let the AI work with you and for you. It's got to be the way forward.
Absolutely. Talking about the contract lifecycle management and contract analysis, can you share 2 or 3 concrete examples on how AI can help producing more with less effort when it comes to contract drafting analysis?
I think what you have to do is you have to combine the AI with somebody who knows how to use it and what they're looking for. So if I want a contract that's specific to a sports matter or a arbitration or something to do with employment, I'm going to prompt the AI differently. I'm going to ask it, can you give me a clause that will deal with termination in the event of breach of X, Y, or Z, whether it's to do with sports, whatever it might be, and it will give me a standard form. I can't rely on that solely. I have to put my own knowledge into it, and that's where the legal analysis and the critical evaluation comes in. But it'll give me something to work with. It'll give me a clause that I can use. How does it do that? It takes information from all different clauses, all different information, and puts it together, but in an intelligent format. We couldn't do that a few years ago. And it's a game changer because now I can put the right prompt in, and then I can prompt it more if I want it refined further. Can you give me a clause that deals with the new law, whether it's a UA law, a KSA law, anywhere in the GCC or even internationally that deals with that particular law? Again, I'm mixing my legal knowledge and ability with the AI. How do I know that law exists? Because I should know that. I'm a lawyer. How do I make AI work for that me? I get that law, I give it to AI, say, tell me how I can put that into a draft. So it's a bit of both. We're not at a system, or we're not in a place where we can just rely on the AI and it can be 100%, and actually that would be wrong, ethically, professionally. Yes. That's not why we come to profession. Now, what's the difference between that and looking through precedents that have been there for ages? I have to actually look through them, cut a bit from here, cut a bit from there, cut a bit from there to get something together. Why do that?
Time consuming.
AI can do all that
huge.
for me.
Yes. Yeah. I agree that AI is doing today like more 70-80% of the job. Is there any disadvantage we need to pay attention to when using AI in contracts management?
Of course. I mean, look, there's always a disadvantage of everything. There's always pros and cons, and we shouldn't pretend otherwise, right? And that's a reality. So the disadvantage, I guess, in AI can be because it doesn't think and it doesn't know, it can put something in that it might think is relevant, but you as a trained eye, as a lawyer, will go through and say, actually, that clause is not relevant in this contract, or there's been a duplication of clause. We've already mentioned something then, it's re-mentioned there, or there's a contradiction. But that can happen when humans draft, or when I'm drafting a contract and I've gone to the side, you can have clauses that contradict with the human eye. Absolutely. So that's the same fallacy with AI. It can happen. Absolutely. But that's why that disadvantage to me isn't much of a disadvantage, because a properly trained person, lawyer or otherwise, dealing with that AI can quickly pick that up. Absolutely. Right? So the disadvantage is only insofar as, it can reproduce, there's a disadvantage if you're using OpenAI and it's collecting from databases that are not correct, that are fed in are not correct, and there could be IP issues if it's using information. But if you use a right AI from products that are designed for the market, like yours, like others, then you have a higher level of credibility, and you know that what you're doing or what you're using is proper and fit for purpose.
Interesting. So to summarize, AI will do the job 70-80%. However, it will not replace the human intervention in order to control the outcome of the AI, which is the remaining 20% job to do, but it's already accelerating the productivity.
Well, let's be clear. Look, you can't sit back in a world 20 years ago and pretend all those mundane, laborious tasks that were labor intensive that we still need to do as lawyers. We don't. And that's reality. And no client's going to pay for us to do that. And that's a reality. So if you, as a law firm or in-house, think you can charge great fees to do something AI can do in 5 minutes, you've got sophisticated end users who are going to say, why am I paying that money for her or him to do that when it can be done in minutes? Even I know. So I think investing in that AI tech is a must, right?
Yes.
Because ultimately it saves you the money and it saves you the embarrassment and the credibility with your end user.
Absolutely.
They know that this can be done much easier. You cannot anyway now, charge huge fees to do the work that AI can. I think people get scared when they don't understand. It was like when, Google came around. Oh, lawyers aren't going to be able to draft contracts anymore because you can put into Google. No, you can't. You can get something very basic. You can get anything from Google. You can pretend to pass yourself off. You can even get medical reports from Google and self-diagnose. It doesn't mean you don't go to a doctor. So I think there's a fear about nothing. It's not going to replace us totally. It's just going to help us. But the fear is this, that if you don't get your head around it and if you don't work with it, then you're losing space.
You'll be left behind.
And I think with the next generation of lawyers coming through the doors or industry, it's expected. I certainly, if I'm interviewing, I expect you know your way around AI. You need to work with it the same way you can work with Word or PowerPoint or Excel. It's part of the integral system now.
It's part of the progress, and every day we need to elevate. We need to elevate the way we're working. We need to elevate the tools we're using and the quality of our deliverables. This is leading me to an additional question that I think it's a challenge also. How, with this extensive use of AI tools, how legal teams will be able to control the challenges coming from the data privacy of their clients?
Data privacy, data protection is massive, and it's getting bigger and bigger for the right reason. Data is one of the most kind of expensive commodities. It's sold, it's abused, it's all the tech companies who ever get into trouble, it's all data. We see it worldwide, right? So we need to have comprehensive data security protocols in place when we're using AI, and we use it because data is being moved around. You need to have encryption, you need to have secure storage, you need to have access controls and authorization. You need to make sure there's data minimization. Only use what's actually needed for your clients. Law firms or in-house should only collect and process necessary data for AI applications, not everything.
Yes.
And for that, you need somebody who knows what they're doing to be responsible. You should have transparency on any kind of algorithms that you use. You should prioritize using transparent ones that fit for purpose. There should be scrutiny of what's going on. That transparency will also build trust with your clients because they know how their information is being used or misused, if you like. You need to have regular security audits and updates to make sure anything you're using from your clients isn't breaching and causing potential liabilities.
And there's the part of regulations. I mean,
Absolutely.
Respecting the local regulations, it's a huge area of improvement for legal practitioners.
And you have to continuously monitor. There's no point having a policy, paying lip service to it and leaving it there. You need to know how it's working. Is it working? Is there a problem? Fix the problem.
Yes.
So I think if you take that proactive step, it can only work. You also need to have a privacy preserving AI techniques. Integrate those into your systems. Encryption is really quite important. And as you say, to make sure you're compliant with data protection regulations. And when data is being, moved from here to a cloud, back here,
exactly.
Where does it go and which regulations apply? And is it the GDPR or are you just subject to local regulations? And where is it actually going? You need to have training on data privacy. You need to understand the data protection laws. And that's not just for lawyers, it's for industry full stop.
Absolutely. Sarah, it's always great to have you in Lexzur Podcast. Thank you very much for the conversation. Very insightful. Hope to see you soon.
You will, and thank you for having me here. It's been lovely.